All right, thank you for tuning in to Chompin at the Bit. This is episode 4, and we're going to finish up part 3 of the NFL season preview, as well as take a look at week 1, as this will be the first action-packed Sunday of the NFL season. I hope you are as excited as I am, as now football is up and running. You know, they started off Thursday, but now you get the full slate of games. But before I get started with that, I just want to say congrats to the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers, as both those teams punched their ticket to the conference finals. So right now 3 of the 4 spots are filled. We will have the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat in the East. And Los Angeles Lakers are waiting to see whether they'll play either the Los Angeles Clippers or Denver Nuggets. But we'll get into, those two series in an upcoming episode where I'll get you, give you a conference finals preview and get you all set. But to pay off, I guess, the tease from the first 2 parts of the season preview, I did say that in part 3 I would pick my predictions for the division winners and the 7 playoff teams in both the AFC and the NFC. So, without further ado, so I went ahead, went online. I found an actual website that let me simulate kind of the season out, and I used that to just come up with what my division winners will look like. So in the NFC, I believe that the Seahawks is probably a bit of a surprise, will win the NFC West. I see the Seahawks winning, I think, around 13 games. Could turn out that the Seahawks and Niners end up with a similar record, but I think the Seahawks will win the tiebreaker. But I also have the Saints winning the NFC South. The Vikings will win the NFC North. And the Cowboys in the NFC East. So this year, there's 3 wildcard teams instead of the normal 2. And my 3 wildcard teams will be the 49ers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Green Bay Packers. Now I do see, a bit of a race for that last playoff spot between the Packers, Rams, and the Falcons. I actually would not be surprised if 2 out of the 3 ended up with the same record, but I believe Green Bay gets in. And then in the AFC, I've got the Chiefs winning the AFC West. No surprise there. I'm picking Baltimore to win the AFC North. In the AFC East, I have the Patriots winning it this year. I know a lot of people thought that the Patriots run would be over, but I do think between Josh McDaniels, Cam Newton, Bill Belichick, that they continue their run this year. I have the Colts winning the AFC South. My 3 playoff teams will be, 3 wildcard teams, sorry about that, will be the Steelers. The Browns actually make the playoffs this year. And the Tennessee Titans. With, I think the Dolphins will do a little better than most expect and will just miss the playoffs. All right, so before we get to that point, we have the rest of week 1 coming up on Sunday. And, for a week 1, there's actually a lot of interesting games out there. But I'm going to go ahead and let you know the 5 games this weekend that I'm excited to see. No particular order, but the first one are the Ravens hosting the Browns. And interesting thing to look at in that matchup is how does, Cleveland look to start off the season. They still have a lot of, weapons on offensive side of the ball. The defense, we'll have to see how that looks with a new head coach in Kevin Stefanski coming over from Minnesota. Man, he's coming in as a guy who's been around Mike Zimmer past couple of years. And Minnesota's, traditionally pretty decent defensively. So if he can get, Cleveland's defense to improve a little bit, and if, Baker Mayfield can, develop a little more, become more of a leader of that offense, could be an interesting week 1 matchup. And I just want to see if Lamar Jackson has developed anything in his game. We know he can throw the deep ball. We know he can scramble and get you yards that way. But let's just see if he's added in, more of a passing game, and maybe he doesn't rely as much as on his legs this year. The second game I'm interested to see would be Green Bay traveling to Minnesota to face the Vikings. Now, over the offseason, there's been a lot of talk in Green Bay about the team not bringing in any new weapons for Aaron Rodgers. But if Aaron Rodgers wants to, keep his place among top quarterbacks in the league today, then he'll get his first opportunity in a divisional rival game against the Minnesota team that's looking to take that next step. And week 1 will be a great opportunity for them to take that first step forward to winning their division. The third game, as I've told you guys previous episodes, big Boston fan, so of course I'm a Patriot fan. So the third game I'm definitely going to be watching this weekend are the Patriots hosting the Miami Dolphins. Now, interesting with this matchup is it's our first look at, the offense that Josh McDaniels is building around Cam Newton. You're obviously not going to have the same offense as one that Tom Brady's led for 20 years. And all reports are that McDaniels has been excited to, turn into those other pages in his playbook that he necessarily couldn't call with Tom Brady. And Miami is the, up and coming young team in that division. And, they have aspirations to surprise Buffalo and New England and make a run at the division title. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic in week 1. The fourth game I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure most people are with this one, may be the biggest game of week 1. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to New Orleans to face Drew Brees and the Saints. So, kind of like with New England, it's our first look at Tampa Bay with their added weapons with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. And recently they signed Leonard Fournette for their backfield. New Orleans is, I would say, the going favorite right now to win the South. But, Tampa Bay can give a good week 1 showing. Then maybe they can show that they'll be the team to, give New Orleans a push. And it would be interesting to see if, Breeze is another year older. See how he looks early on in the season. The 5th game, and the last one of my 5 that I'm definitely looking at forward to this weekend, are the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are the home team, so Dallas is traveling out to LA. Dallas had an off season where they had talks with Dak Prescott about a contract extension. They did not come to terms with him, but most people do expect that Jerry Jones will turn around and pay Prescott at some point, probably during the season. I can see maybe around their bye week, them dropping some type of breaking news about that. But they're coming in once again, boasting a lot of hype. A lot of people think that they could have a very good offense this year, and they're going up against a Rams team where you're not sure what you'll see early on in the year, as they have transitioned a little bit. Past couple of years they were, I would say, run heavy with Todd Gurley, but Gurley's gone now. So, they have some talented wide receivers, and I know that they're expecting Jared Goff to take that next step and, run that offense, make it his own. So, interested to see how they look, and believe that they will be opening their new stadium this weekend. So, definitely want to see what that looks like. So now another, I guess, a new segment, of course, with the season just getting started. I decided that each week I'll pick 5 games and give you my predictions, who's going to win, but I'm going to do it against the spread. And, for those of you who may not know how the spread works, if you like looking at team matchups, you might see a plus or a minus and a certain number besides the team's name. It's always besides the home team's name. And if you see a minus in a number, that means that's how many points they're favored to win by. If it's plus in a number, then they're an underdog. And if they, as long as they don't lose by more than that number, you would still win with them. It might be a little much right now, but I'll try to explain a little more as I go ahead. And with that, with these 5 picks, you can do what you want with it. If you're in, like on ESPN in a pick'em league or something, I'm giving you 5 picks right here that you can take with you. Or, you want to cash in on it, be my guest. So the first one that I feel confident about, it's Pittsburgh traveling to New York to face the Giants. The Giants are a 3.5 point underdog. So basically, if you think the Giants will win or won't lose by more than 3.5 points, you'd pick the Giants. Anything outside of that, like if they lose by more than 3.5, or you think Pittsburgh's going to win outright, you pick Pittsburgh. So for me, I'm taking the Steelers at the Giants. I just think that they say that Roethlisberger looks good coming back from his elbow injury. And, Pittsburgh always has decent weapons on offense. And reports from the team are that they're expecting some big things from their defense to be much improved. And, Daniel Jones is still young with the Giants. So, give me Pittsburgh in that one. Second game, you have the Eagles going to Washington to face the Washington football team. That's their winning for the year. And Washington is a 6.5 point underdog. It's kind of a big number, but I'm not expecting big things from Washington, so I will take Philadelphia in that matchup. Yeah, give me the Eagles. I can see them winning by 2 touchdowns easy in that one. Washington has too many questions on offense. Some doubts with it's Rivera's first game there. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. This is one instance where, with no preseason, will probably hurt Washington game 1 here. Like I said, I'm not expecting Washington to win a lot of games this year, but I think Rivera will have them at least compete better than they did last year. And with Philadelphia, Carson Wentz usually plays well early on in the year. It's just whether they can keep him healthy all year. So, like I said, give me Philly in that one. Third matchup, have the Indianapolis Colts going to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. And Jacksonville is a 7.5 point underdog. Some people may look at that as a big number, but yeah, Jacksonville is not looking to compete this year. That's obvious. They let go a lot of guys on defense. They recently let go of Leonard Fournette. They have, Gardner Minshew in his second year to be the starting quarterback. And Indianapolis is coming in. They got a lot of hype in the media as they've turned their starting position over to Phillip Rivers. For me, I'm not really sure what Phillip Rivers has left in the tank. Past couple of years in San Diego, well, now LA Chargers, but he had high turnover numbers, and the team didn't really do well out there. So Indianapolis is hoping, bringing him into Indy with a better offensive line. Same decent weapons in terms of wide receivers and running backs. And Indianapolis has a, pretty good defense. I see them winning that game by at least 2 touchdowns. So, like I said, give me Indianapolis in that matchup. The fourth game for this weekend, I'm taking... Alright, so it's the Chicago Bears going to the Detroit Lions. And Detroit is a 1.5 point favorite at home. Give me Detroit in this matchup. Chicago has questions at quarterback. I'm pretty sure with this game, those questions will continue. And the coach is going to decide whether they turn to Foles, their backup, who they brought in the offseason, or do they keep trying to make Trubisky better. This is a crucial year for Mitch Trubisky. If he struggles this year, he could easily find himself out of Chicago. And Detroit, if there's one thing about Detroit that is that Matt Stafford can put points up on the board, and he'll give you like big fantasy numbers. He'll throw some touchdowns. He gives you big passing numbers. He will turn the ball over every once in a while, but Chicago does have a good defense led by Khalil Mack. But the fact that their offense was still a bit of a question, I think Detroit wins this by at least a field goal. I could see like a 4 to 6 point win for Detroit here. So give me Detroit as the home favorite. The final game that I'll be picking this weekend, it's the Tennessee Titans going to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are a 2.5 point favorite at home. And, looking at that line was kind of surprising to me, because I know that a lot of people think Tennessee is going to have a good year this year, and Denver is a pretty young team, and I know that some people do have them doing shockingly well this year, possibly being a playoff team or at least contending for a wild card. I was not expecting Tennessee to be an underdog on the road in week 1. But you know what? Give me Tennessee in this matchup. I think Tennessee's going to continue to ride Derrick Henry and use Derrick Henry to set up play action pass for Ryan Tannehill. And, Tannehill can continue with the play that he showed last year in the playoffs. I think they'll be fine. Denver, I think Denver will be better this year than last year. I just don't know if they'll have enough to, stick with Tennessee. Because, Tennessee's going to play ball control, try to go on long runs and own the time of possession. And, with Denver missing Von Miller, as he hurt his ankle I think a week and a half ago, which I think was going to be a big blow for that Denver defense. I see Tennessee taking that one. So just to recap my 5 picks, give me Pittsburgh on the road at the Giants, give me Philadelphia on the road at Washington, give me the Colts on the road at Jacksonville. I'll take Detroit at home against Chicago. And then give me the Titans on the road at Denver. And like I said before, you can do what you want with those 5 picks. Try to cash in on them. Or use them in a pick 'em league and try to get a good head start on the year. But yeah, so like I said before, this is going to be a very good weekend to just sit back and watch some NFL games. Hey, this is the time where most fans are sitting there and you're optimistic about your team. Because right now in your mind, your team is a Super Bowl contender. And then after the first week, we'll see how your mindset is looking towards your team. But yeah. Outside of the 5 games I gave you as my games of the week, there are a lot of good matchups, a lot of intriguing stories. So definitely enjoy yourself. And with that, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I would say probably in the next episode or the one after, I will preview the conference finals, because by then, hopefully, the Clippers, as I expect, will have beaten the Nuggets, and then conference finals will be set, and then I can go ahead and preview both matchups for you. Also, upcoming will be a review of week 1 of the season. I will keep track of my 5 picks as well. We'll see how well I do. I'll keep a running total all year to see how well that's going to go. Even if I have a bad week, I'm not going to abandon it. I will continue to pick, I'd say probably at least 5 each week. But with that, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy this episode. The podcast is out there on a lot of the major websites. So whether you're listening on YouTube or Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, which we recently just got added to, definitely excited about that. Or if you're following the Facebook page, wherever you're listening to this, drop a like, hit the follow or subscribe button, and definitely leave a comment, because I do want to hear from you guys, and I'll take all your feedback to help make this a better show for you, or any topics you bring to the table. I'll definitely try to hit on some of those, or any questions that you have. Definitely put those in any of the comment sections. But yeah, so that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again for tuning in. Be safe, and I will catch you on the next episode. All right.